Topping our lineup this Tuesday here in the Now, there are proposed cuts to a popular student loan forgiveness program. We're getting answers on other places you can turn to for relief. And remembering those who lost their lives in the first Gulf War. A look at plans for a first-of-its-kind national memorial. And the number of jobs available in STEM careers keeps growing, but veterans who already have some skills for these positions may face barriers getting into them. How that is changing starting today.
Thanks, Chris. I'm Amanda Starantino, and you're watching the Now Indy. This is American Heart Month, and RTV6 is partnering with the Go Red for Women campaign sponsored by the American Heart Association. We are sharing stories of women who have overcome health obstacles and are now living heart-healthy lifestyles. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us now with the story of a woman who survived not one but 2 strokes before her 30th birthday.
It's been 5 years since Nicole Murray had her last stroke, but she says she's still recovering every day, and this year her journey is being nationally recognized.
I was 29, and that's when I had my first stroke.
Nicole Murray says she had been feeling sick for about a week, and as she was getting ready for work, she realized her mouth was numb and she couldn't talk.
I was just alone at home, and I didn't know what to do, so I just called my mom, but I just cried. That's all I could do, and she knew something was wrong, so she came to get me.
She says at the hospital, doctors said she was too young to have a stroke, but an MRI confirmed that's exactly what it was.
My recovery started with speech therapy, and I had to relearn how to talk. Going through therapy, within the first 3 months, my speech therapist said, hey, we think you're probably good, but you're going backwards. You're not getting better, you're getting worse.
An MRI once again confirmed Murray had a second stroke within 3 months of her first. She says the road to a full recovery is a long one.
I'm still in recovery. It's been 5 years since I've had my strokes. Every day is a process. Every day is a struggle, but every day is also a success because here I am, I'm still working through it.
This year, Murray is being recognized nationally.
I was selected to be one of the 9 ladies for the national campaign Go Red for Women, along with the American Heart Association.
Last week, she went to New York where she was pampered with hair, makeup, new clothes, and the ability to talk about her journey.
It's an honor. It really is. To be able to tell my story so that somebody will know what to do in the event that maybe they have a stroke or maybe they have a heart attack.
She says the message she wants to send to anyone recovering from a stroke is this.
You might go through some things. It might be a struggle, but there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you for that. And Murray says it's important to know the warning signs of a stroke, which are face droopiness, arm weakness, and slurred speech. Kevin.
We just look at clouds, but we can see for miles today. But tomorrow at this time, I think our visibility will be limited in some wet, heavy snow. I keep saying wet. In other words, the temperatures will be a little above freezing, and these snowflakes will be melting on their way down to the ground. 38 in Indy now, 37 in Kokomo. Temperature a little warmer in Bloomington, 40 degrees. We stay cloudy tonight. Temperatures will change very little between now and tomorrow morning. We'll drop into the upper 20s tomorrow morning. That wind will remain light. There's the story for tomorrow afternoon through Thursday. Winter weather advisory. Terre Haute to Indy to Richmond north. Best chance of all snow will be north of Indy. I think a wintry mix in the metro area with rain south of Indy. Here's how it plays out. Temperature 8 a.m. 29. By the time we get to noon, still cloudy, 36. There we go. 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Snow returns, heavy at times, and that may quickly coat the roads. Temperatures, though, still above freezing.
The number of coronavirus cases continues to grow. The World Health Organization says more than 1,000 people have died from the virus in China. There have been close to 43,000 cases there. Now, we've seen more than 10 cases so far here in the U.S. The World Health Organization named the virus COVID-19 today. It says that it picked that name so it wouldn't refer to a certain location, animal, or group of people. The organization says the vaccine could be ready in a little more than a year. Well, some people that fall on hard times during some of the harsher winter weather, well, they won't have to worry about losing their homes right away. Seattle passed an ordinance that prevents some evictions from December to February. Now, it's the first U.S. city to officially adopt this type of ban. Seattle is plagued with surging homeless rates and housing prices. While the move provides some short-term reprieve, renters are still liable for rent. It doesn't address the cycle that comes with evictions, according to the National Housing Law Project.
You know, I think a lot of times it's easy to think of people that get evicted as some kind of character flaw, or somebody did something wrong, or, you know, did something bad and they got evicted. But really, it's usually a financial problem.
The group says financial difficulties can be overcome, but a black mark of eviction on your record can have lifelong consequences.
They can't rent it at the higher quality properties in the neighborhoods with the good jobs and the good schools. Now they have to go look for a property where the landlord can't be very selective about who they're renting to. You know, maybe because the property is not in very good condition, maybe because it's not in a safe neighborhood.
The National Law Housing Project suggests other tactics to prevent evictions, like preventing landlords from not accepting government housing vouchers and considering rent control, which Seattle doesn't have. Let's start the Now newsfeed. A federal judge approving T-Mobile's takeover of Sprint. That deal for $26.5 billion. It is a move that could mean a more expensive phone bill for you. The companies say the move, though, will help them expand 5G. Harvey Weinstein's defense resting. The former movie mogul did not testify in his rape trial. Weinstein's facing charges related to incidents with two women dating back to 2006. Well, tough numbers for Boeing. The company didn't see any jetliner orders in January. Boeing's still dealing with the fallout from the two deadly 737 MAX crashes. Well, we have more to get to in our lineup today. There are proposed cuts to a popular student loan forgiveness program. We're going to get some answers if you should really be worried about this and the other places you can turn to for relief.
An early start to the day for some of Indiana's legislative leaders as they heard from a specific group of constituents, members of the Latino community. Today was the Indiana Latino Legislative Breakfast downtown. It was an opportunity to share with legislators important issues, challenges, and opportunities facing the state's Latino community, which has grown by hundreds of thousands since 1990. Those issues include education, immigration, and economic development.
We would like to have more civic engagement from our Latino community and build bridges and communicate with, between legislators in our community, have more open conversations about these issues.
Our own Rafael Sanchez was the master of ceremonies for the event.
Let's start the Now newsfeed. Prosecutors have released the fake athletic profile Lori Loughlin's daughter used to get into USC. Now, it said that she was a gold medal member of a crew team. Problem is, they say she did not compete in crew. Loughlin and her husband are charged with conspiracy. Lawmakers pushing for plastic product makers to take responsibility for pollution. Two Democratic congressmen pushing a bill to put the cost of disposing plastic products on the manufacturers. Well, if you're looking for work, Home Depot's hiring. This spring, the company hiring 80,000 workers, both part and full-time positions. How about this? 90% of the American population lives within 10 miles of a Home Depot. Several federal student loan programs are facing steep cuts under the White House's proposed budget for 2021. It includes ending subsidized student loans. That's when the government covers the interest for someone who's still in school or having financial trouble. Now, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which has been confusing for people to qualify for, could also be eliminated. Repayment plans could be simplified but become more expensive, going from 10% to 12.5% of someone's monthly income. Now, this, of course, just a proposal. Congress would have to approve the cuts, and Student Loan Hero, it's a website for borrowers, sees it as unlikely to become law. They encourage people to take charge of their student loan debt.
We see a lot of borrowers who are happy to sit on the sidelines and, are unsure about next steps to take.
Andrew Pentis says people should be extremely aggressive with paying down debt or strategically passive, meaning they aim for the lowest payment while looking at options to gain relief later.
We really want to empower borrowers to feel like they have the tools and information they need at their fingertips to handle their debt in the way that's best for them.
So StudentLoanHero.com has calculators to figure out a payment you can afford, quizzes to see if you qualify for certain repayment plans, and a database of more than 100 loan repayment assistance programs that are not in jeopardy. All right, ahead in our lineup here on the Now, remembering those who lost their lives in the first Gulf War. There are plans for a national war memorial for the first Gulf War and why breweries across the country are getting behind the effort. Karate is well known for teaching discipline, but its focus on core strength, balance, and confidence building could be an effective strategy for something else. People living with brain disorders. And as Usher Qureshi reports, it is showing remarkable promise.
Ready? Twice a week inside this karate dojo, these students learn the fundamental movements of Kihon technique.
We did something called Gohon Kumite, which is partner work, working on rhythm, working on distancing, working on timing, and working on technique.
But for head instructor Brian Ramroop, this is a class like none other he's taught before.
These guys all have Parkinson's.
More than 1 million Americans have Parkinson's disease. The progressive neurological disorder affects balance and movement.
Very good.
Tremors and stiffness are common symptoms, but the disease can also lead to depression and anxiety. For Sonia Vargas, diagnosed in 2005, it started with tingling in her legs.
It felt like I was carrying some piece of some heavy equipment on my legs.
Nice. A year ago, on the recommendation of her neurologist, Vargas joined this Chicago area martial arts academy.
These guys are learning how to go to the ground safely, how to break falls.
It's part of a program studying the potential for karate to slow the progression of the disorder.
Actually, the first day when I went to the first class, the next day I felt a difference. It was remarkable.
We found clinically significant changes in quality of life, which is huge.
Dr. Jory Fleischer is the principal investigator of the study.
It seems like it's a great exercise. It's covering a lot of the areas: balance, core strength, big, large amplitude movements. When people are, kind of tiny or small or stiffer, they're sort of fighting back actively against that.
Super good. Awesome.
Camaraderie is also a key component. The group now competes together, cheering for one another on good days and bad.
The exercises help tremendously. The competitions, really get you going. My first competition, I got the orange belt.
The year-long randomized program concludes next month, and Fleischer remains cautiously optimistic about the outcome.
I don't think karate will, be the end-all, be-all. It's not the answer, but could it be an answer? I think so.
In Chicago, I'm Usher Qureshi.
Tonight, the worlds of live politics and entertainment will come together in a revolutionary broadcast here on RTV6. The election results from the New Hampshire primary will be incorporated in a live episode of The Connors. The show will air in real time on both the East and West Coasts.
When I realized that the primary was on a Tuesday night, which is our night we go on the air, I said, why don't we have the TVs on? And why don't we have the primary being reported on?
You look at this as an opportunity to engage people, to bring in real news, to connect a lot of different audiences all at one time.
The actors will have to stick to a script and then ad-lib around whatever the results are from the primary. The polls close by 8 and the show starts live at 8 right here on RTV6. The cast and crew will do a second live show at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Cool stuff.
Very cool, and this is beautiful. You need to look at your TV. If you're just listening now, you need to stare at it for a second. Love this view. Lots going on there. We've got mid-level clouds, high-level cirrus clouds, and a little bit of sun breaking through. Tomorrow at this time, it'll be all about snow and some rain in the viewing area, as a winter weather advisory will be in effect at that point. Then a very cold Friday. Temperatures plummet after the wintry kind of mix tomorrow night and Thursday. We get much colder. All of this area is in the advisory from Indy north tomorrow afternoon to Thursday. Once you get south into Johnson, Morgan, Shelby counties, for example, the snow totals will be an inch or less. So there is a fine line here between where we'll have accumulating snow, several inches, and not much snow at all. Tomorrow, dry in the morning, then the wintry mix arrives, primarily a burst of snow snow first, changing to some rain south of Indy, continuing with the snow to the north. Temperatures above freezing in the afternoon. Timeline, 1 o'clock, Terre Haute, Bloomington, Seymour. By the time we get to 4, you'll see that push right into the heart of the metro area. And with that, deteriorating road conditions in spots. There's the widespread snow, that at 3:30 to 4, and then at 7, sitting right on the fence between snow north and rain to the south.
Let's start the Now News feed. Companies making sure employees' faith is protected at work. More than 20% of Fortune 100 companies have faith-based resources for employees. This is according to the Associated Press, which includes hiring chaplains to counsel workers. Southwest doing more to make sure that passengers behave. You'll now hear flight attendants encourage you to report any bad behavior during pre-flight announcements. And Ring now has a feature to highlight the good behavior in your neighborhood. Now, you can tag people in videos showing good deeds. Some say, for example, let's say someone takes in your garbage can for you or helps something in your yard. You can share that video, then tag it as a neighborly moment. Interesting story here. Construction companies are trying to make the process of building a home faster and more affordable. And take a look at this. The company Factory OS, building apartment buildings really like Legos. Now, they create one room at a time, then gradually add things like windows, electrical outlets, and counters. Now, the pre-assembled modules are then trucked to the building site and then craned into place. The process can be as short as 10 days.
You can build the home at least 30% faster and more efficiently, so you save 20% minimum on construction costs.
Those extra savings can turn into extra units and lower rents. Well, it's been called the 100-hour war, the video game war, for just how brief it was and constantly televised. It was nearly 30 years ago America led an international military coalition during the first Gulf War. For the families of the nearly 300 American soldiers who died in the conflict, there's never been a national memorial honoring their sacrifice. But as Maya Rodriguez tells us, that's about to change.
Inside Bold Republic Brewing in Belton, Texas.
Yeah, it's a really good beer.
Adrian Hodges keeps a special beer on tap at all times.
So it had to be a German beer. My dad loved German beer.
That beer is Captain Jack, created by Adrian and her husband Patrick and named after her father, Marine Captain Jonathan Ross Edwards.
He was funny, charming, handsome, just the kind of guy that when he walks in a room, everybody was drawn to him.
In 1990, he deployed to Operation Desert Shield and Storm.
Tonight, the battle has been joined.
The fight to get Iraqi soldiers out of Kuwait after Saddam Hussein invaded that country. Captain Jack died in a helicopter crash during the war. His loss hit 8-year-old Adrian hard.
Shock and sadness, like extreme sadness.
He was buried at Arlington, but there's never been an official national war memorial for the first Gulf War. Until now.
It fits in with the fabric of them all.
Scott Stump is a Desert Storm veteran and heads up the group behind what will be the newest war memorial at the National Mall in Washington, D.C., the National Desert Storm War Memorial.
It's in close proximity to the Lincoln Memorial.
Congress approved the plan, but by law, construction can only begin once all the money for it is privately raised, about $40 million. They're about a quarter of the way there.
I think it will be a sense of closure, a sense of remembrance, and also knowing that their loved ones were a part of a very important part in history.
Back in Texas, all the proceeds from the Captain Jack beer are benefiting the War Memorial Fund.
I definitely think he's, giving me a cheers from up above every time we pour a glass of it.
Adrienne and Patrick shared the recipe with breweries across the country who are also raising money for the memorial. In all, they've raised more than $14,000 so far.
I think it's important to remember the sacrifices that our military makes. There's no greater love than to lay down your life for somebody else, and memorials honor that.
So we can all remember. In Belton, Texas, I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
Maya, thank you. And finally in our lineup today here on The Now, the number of jobs available in STEM careers keeps growing, but veterans who already have some skills for these well-paying positions may face some barriers getting into them. We're going to talk about how that's changing starting today.